Welcome to KFS Digital Vault, your premier source for professional insurance, tax, and financial training. If you're preparing for your Missouri property and casualty exam, you're in the right place. Today, we'll focus on general insurance terms and definitions, the foundation of your exam preparation. These terms are essential because questions on them appear frequently, often in scenarios or multiple choice formats. Throughout this session, we'll provide detailed explanations, practical examples, and memory aids to help you retain the information and feel confident on exam day. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our professional training videos. Grab a notebook and let's start building your insurance expertise. By the end of this session, you will be able to understand key property and casualty terminology, including terms frequently tested on the Missouri exam, memorize definitions such as proximate cause, indemnity, and subrogation that often appear on Pearson VUE exams, apply terms to real-world examples like calculating policy payouts or identifying hazards, distinguish similar terms, a common exam challenge, such as peril versus hazard or direct versus indirect loss. Prepare for multiple choice and scenario questions using practical examples and calculations. Remember, applying these concepts in practice will reinforce your understanding. Let's start with the fundamental terms of insurance. Insured, the person or entity covered by a policy. In Missouri, this could be a homeowner, vehicle owner, or business entity. For example, a homeowner purchasing a policy for their home is the insured. Insurer, the company providing coverage like State Farm, Liberty Mutual, or a local Missouri insurance carrier. Premium, the payment the insured makes to maintain coverage. Premiums vary based on risk, coverage limits, and policy type. Policy, the legally binding contract between the insurer and the insured, detailing coverage, exclusions, limits, and conditions. Binder, temporary proof of coverage issued until the formal policy is delivered, typically valid for 30-60 days. Memorize these definitions, they're foundational for the exam. Next, we clarify three critical concepts: risk, peril, and hazard. Risk, the chance or uncertainty of loss. For example, owning property in a tornado prone area represents a high risk. Peril, the actual cause of a loss, such as fire, theft, or windstorm. Hazard, any condition that increases the likelihood or severity of loss. Hazards don't directly cause loss, but make it more probable. Understanding these distinctions is essential for the exam, where questions may present scenarios requiring you to identify the type of risk, peril, or hazard. There are three main types of hazards: physical hazard, tangible conditions that increase risk, such as defective wiring or icy sidewalks. Moral hazard arises from dishonesty or fraudulent behavior, like intentionally damaging property to collect insurance. Morale hazard, careless or indifferent attitudes, such as leaving doors unlocked or failing to maintain safety equipment. Exam questions often ask you to classify a hazard type. Use real world examples to reinforce your understanding. Two fundamental insurance principles are indemnity and insurable interest. Indemnity ensures the insured is restored to their financial position prior to a loss without making a profit. For example, a $50,000 roof destroyed by fire would be replaced at its value, not beyond. Insurable interest requires the insured to have a financial stake in the property or life being insured. You cannot insure someone else's home or vehicle because you would not suffer financially if it were damaged. Missouri exam questions frequently test these principles using scenario questions. Losses are classified as direct loss, physical damage to property. Example, fire damage to a garage. Indirect, consequential loss, financial loss resulting from a direct loss. Example, lost rental income due to fire damage to a rental property. Scenario questions often ask you to differentiate between these. Insurance uses different methods to determine claim payment: actual cash value, ACV, replacement cost minus depreciation. Example, A 10-year-old roof valued at $20,000 may have an ACV of $12,000. Replacement cost to replace property without depreciation. Using the same roof, replacement cost may remain $20,000. Functional replacement provides a modern equivalent at lower cost. Example, replacing an outdated HVAC system with a modern energy efficient unit. Understanding these methods is critical for exam questions and real world claims. Deductibles. A deductible is the amount the insured pays before coverage applies. Deductibles reduce small claims. Lower premiums can be flat amounts or percentages of property value. Example, a $10,000 fire loss with a $1,000 deductible results in a $9,000 payout. Scenario questions often include deductible calculations. Policy limits. Policy limits are the maximum amounts the insurer will pay under a policy, which can be per occurrence, per policy period, or aggregate. Example, a homeowner's policy may cover $200,000 for the dwelling and $100,000 for personal property. Scenario questions may ask how much is paid after a loss, including multiple damages. Proximate cause. Proximate cause is the event that sets in motion a chain of events leading to loss. It determines coverage. Example, lightning strikes a tree that falls on a home. Lightning is the proximate cause which may trigger fire coverage. Exam questions often present chain of event scenarios. Additional key terms, other key terms, assignment, transfer of policy rights, appraisal, used to resolve disputes over property value, coinsurance, requires the insured to carry coverage equal to a percentage of property value to avoid penalties. Subrogation allows the insurer to recover losses from a responsible third party. These are commonly tested. Perils versus exclusions. Perils are causes of loss, like fire or theft. Exclusions are situations not covered, such as flood or earthquake. Scenario questions often ask whether a peril is covered or excluded. Endorsements. Endorsements modify or expand coverage. Examples include scheduled personal property, inflation guard water backup, sewer, earthquake, flood coverage. Understanding endorsements is essential for exam questions. Risk management. Risk management strategies include avoidance, eliminating exposure completely. Example, not building in a floodplain. Retention, accepting small losses. Example, paying small losses out of pocket. Reduction, minimizing potential loss. Example, installing sprinklers or alarms. Transfer, purchasing insurance to shift risk to the insurer. Scenario questions often test these strategies. Legal concepts to remember. Insurable interest must exist for the policy to be valid. Utmost good faith. Both parties must act honestly and disclose material facts. Adhesion, take it or leave it policy language. Courts favor the insured in disputes. Aleatory contract, unequal exchange based on chance. The insured may pay premiums for years without loss or receive a large payout after a single claim. These principles are often tested in Missouri exam scenarios. Exam tips for terms. Tips to master insurance terminology. Use flashcards for memorization. Group similar terms to understand subtle differences. Apply real-world examples to reinforce concepts. Practice multiple choice and scenario questions to improve retention. Following these strategies will increase exam confidence. Scenario practice. Scenario, the insured has a $200,000 dwelling, $150,000 contents, and a $1,000 deductible. Fire causes $10,000 damage to a shed and $3,000 to personal property. Deduct the $1,000 deductible. Apply policy limits to ensure payouts do not exceed coverage. Determine ACV or replacement cost as the policy specifies. Scenario practice is critical for the Pearson VUE exam. In summary, today we covered basic insurance terms, risk, peril, and hazard indemnity, insurable interest and loss types, valuation methods, deductibles, policy limits, and proximate cause, additional key terms, perils versus exclusions, endorsements, risk management, and legal concepts, exam tips, and scenario practice. Review these terms, use examples, and you'll be well prepared for your Missouri P&C exam. Thank you for watching KFS Digital Vault. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss professional training videos. Good luck on your exam.